Magician of Team Sorcerers here, and welcome back to What If Wednesday. Yes, you're getting a second episode today. In fact, I might end up doing 2 episodes per week on some occasions. In fact, I've done it for later episodes actually, because I've had so many what if ideas that I've had to schedule 2, and I've had ideas scheduled for like all the way up to the 18th of December, and of course I didn't want to schedule any for Christmas Day and New Year's Day because well, both of those fall on a Wednesday, and I didn't want to schedule any for those days or do any episodes on those days for like obvious reasons, and I didn't want to schedule any for the early Wednesdays of 2025, so I'm going to have to cram in some double episodes throughout the rest of this year. Now this is one that was requested by Matt and Alison Welch. I know Express Gaming also made a request for one, which was What If I Liked Negates. Now don't worry, I did film that episode and I did schedule it, but it won't be shown until some point in October. I forget the exact date, so don't worry, that one will come. But for now, this idea is, what if Joey kept the spell cards Marik added to his deck when he took control of Joey? More specifically, Attrition, Hinotama, Regeki, and what was the other one? Meteor of Destruction. Oh, I don't even remember Attrition, so I had to remember what it does. Oh, here it is. It's a continuous spell that states, each time an opponent's monster is not destroyed by battle, the opponent's monster loses attack equal to the damage took by either player. I can't believe I forgot about that one. Then again, it's been a while since I've seen the episode. But yeah, this is very interesting. I mean, we both reckon that Joey would have done a lot better in the following duels throughout Battle City. But how much would have changed? We'll have to see. Well, we reckon he would have had an easier time against Odeon, definitely, depending on what he drew. Now, of course, if Joey did legitimately defeat Odeon before he got a chance to use the fake Winged Dragon of Ra, it's hard to say what would have happened next. I mean, would Yami Marik have still come out? Who knows? And would Marik have punished Odeon for failure? It's hard to say for sure, but I have noticed that anyone who does work for Marik, the rare hunters, just normally gets sent to the Shadow Realm for failure. So it depends whether or not Marik would have done the same thing, despite Odeon being technically family. I reckon if he did, then this would have ultimately backfired, and then with Odeon out of the way, Yami Marik would have emerged. And then the rest of the story would have played out the same way. Joey But anyway, with all these spells, Joey would have also had an easier time against what was that lawyer's name? Johnson, that was it, Johnson. He might have had an easier time defeating Johnson, and also an easier time against all of the big five with when he teamed up with Yugi. So, in that respect, I don't think much would have changed there. But as for when he faces off against Marik himself, well, that's another story entirely. Yeah, I feel like Joey would have had a better chance of beating him, Marik, for sure. I mean, obviously, if Marik was somehow able to win, then not much really changes plot-wise. Or would it? I mean, in that aspect, without Odeon, he wouldn't try to reach out to good Marik and have good Marik try and force himself out, regain control of his body, then so who knows, maybe it would have even been up to Ishizu to try and encourage good Marik to basically fight back. In which case, should that happen, then nothing changes. Otherwise, I don't know. It's a bit hard to say whether or not good Marik would have been lost to the shadows, or whether he would have regained control of his body and just surrendered. I'd like to think that there would have been some way for good Marik to survive, otherwise how would Atem go on to find out the secrets of his past? But yeah, let's say for instance Marik, as in the good one, doesn't send Odeon to the Shadow Realm. It's really hard to say. I would have thought that Yami Marik would have come out eventually, somehow. But either way, Marik is exposed. I'm not sure what other way Yami Marik would have come about. But I don't know. I can't really see a situation where Odeon doesn't get punished for failing. So it's difficult to say. The dark side of Marik has to appear somehow. How that would be is uncertain. But let's say, fast forward back to the Joey versus Marik duel. Let's say Joey just wipes the floor of him. I mean, I guess Marik would have still been sent to the Shadow Realm, and everyone he sealed away there would be free. Now I know TGS Anime did cover what would happen in this situation, and I guess Shizu have a bit of resentment towards Joey because she wanted Marik to be saved, and now he's in the Shadow Realm. Although maybe there is a chance that good Marik could come back, but I'm not quite sure how that would happen. There wouldn't be a third place playoff duel, and Joey and Yugi would in fact face off in the final. Now, this has been talked about already. I don't remember if I covered it, but I know I think someone else did. But it's hard to say who would win between the two of them. I know they did have a duel like at the end of, what was it? At the penultimate episode of season 3, and it is implied that Joey won. So let's say that does happen. I mean, Joey would then be sport for choice of whether or not to take Obelisk or Slifer, but he probably wouldn't do that, and instead he would take back Red Eye's Black Dragon. I suppose that Joey, in some way or another, would hand Yugi the Winged Dragon of Ra, because Yugi and the Tem do need them to unlock the secrets of the past, so I'm not quite sure how they could go about it. But yeah, if Yugi wins, of course, he would take the Winged Dragon of Ra, of course, but I feel like he would give Joey back the Red Eye's Black Dragon and say, like, well, Joey, even though you didn't win the final, you've definitely earned back your Red Eyes. Here you go. So, yeah, Joey would definitely be a stronger duelist for sure, with all these spells in his deck. And I guess they would have helped in the long run in the later seasons had he kept them for Waking the Dragon and the Grand Prix. I mean, he would have had an easier time against Valen and Mai, most probably, and Rex. Of course, regarding the second duel with Mai in that season, I mean, if he still lost, then nothing changes. But if he did manage to beat Mai thanks to these spells, well, naturally he'd be devastated that her soul was taken by the seal, and then be really mad and vow to get a piece of darts. But then again, this might affect how Atem's second duel with Raphael goes, depending. In which case, would Joey be the one to go after darts and then run into Raphael? I guess they would engage in a duel and maybe have it all shown. But it's hard to say. Either way, Raphael probably would find a way to beat Joey and seal his soul, but still pass over the Claw of Hermos to attempt, and then still nothing would change. Or maybe Joey probably wouldn't go after Darts and Raphael because he's just too tired from having back-to-back duels. In which case, Atem, Taya and Tristan would find him just really exhausted, and then they'd have to help him walk. Then I'm not sure what would happen afterwards. I guess they'd probably run into Kyber again. But now what would happen here? Would Atem duel Raphael alone still? Or would Kyber jump in and help him and make it a 2-on-1? Now the reason why I don't say a 3-on-1 is because, well, Joe is in no condition to duel. Yeah, I reckon the two of them together would easily overcome Raphael. Well, maybe not easily, but eventually overcome him. Although I'd like to think Yugi would deliver the finishing blow. Sorry, Atem. But otherwise, if Atem is alone, well, he doesn't have the Claw of Hermos, and this makes things a little bit difficult. So it's hard to say how Atem would win in this situation without the Claw of Hermos and being able to do the whole combo of Guardian Iatos and Goddess Bow. I suppose another alternative way to win, maybe, would be either Dark Hole, which Yugi apparently does have, or Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. But then again, oh yeah, there would be a light and a dark still in Atem's graveyard, because King's Knight is still there, and so is Curry Bandit. So he definitely would have had the conditions to bring out Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, and then use its effect to banish Guardian Dreadscythe. And then with Raphael on very few life points. Let's see, what did he have left that he could have brought back? I don't know. I'm trying to remember everything that went to his grave. Because at this point, oh no, wait, he still had Queen's Knight, which for some reason Raphael didn't attack. So, yeah, it would have been a simple, straightforward way to win. I don't know why I said Dark Hole, because Dreadscythe would have just used its effect to come back. So, So yeah, it still would have been a viable option. Banish Curry Bandit and King's Knight, special summon BLS, activate his effect to banish Guardian Dreadscythe, and then attack the game with Queen's Knight. Game, set, and match. Of course, alternatively, before the duel even starts, Joey would probably give Yugi the Claw of Hermos and be like, "Hey, Yug, take this!" And then just throws in the Claw of Hermos to use, and then the duel would play out the exact same way. Now, the duel with darts. I feel like Joey would join Yugi and Kaiba in the final duel, because he would have had enough time to basically refresh himself, and their odds of beating darts just increased, but chances are things would have gone the same way in that duel. Like, even with all these burn spells, Darts' life points would have got way too high, and then, rather annoyingly, because of plot convenience, there would have been a way for Darts to eliminate Joey as well as Kaiba, leaving a Tem to fight alone. But it doesn't matter, because the duel will still go in a Tem's favour. Now, the Grand Prix. I reckon Joey would have had more of a chance of winning the whole thing. Against Solomon, nothing changes that much. Against Siegfried, well, I guess it depends. I mean, if Siegfried was still able to win somehow, then literally nothing changes. But let's say Joey wins. Oh, this was a what if that I didn't even think about. So this is a what if within a what if. What if Joey did defeat Siegfried? Well, the main villain of that arc would have been eliminated right away. But he still would have ended up giving the Golden Castle of Stromberg to Leon. Yeah, it would have been just a real thrill to see Joey defeat a main villain for once. So then he'd go on to defeat that other guy who Siegfried beats, and then he would face Leon in the final. But it's hard to say who'd win between the two of them. I guess for the sake of plot convenience, Leon would beat Joey, which would be a bit shocking and disappointing. But yeah, it would have been nice to see Joey win an event, and then the last duel of the arc plays out the same way, literally. Or alternatively, Stromberg is played in this duel against Joey, but would it? It's hard to say. Yeah, it would have caused a lot more problems had it been played that way, and there was no way to get rid of it. But if Joey does win, then he faces off against Yugi for the title, and it's, well, I don't know how it would go. It's a bit up in the air. But maybe Joey would be able to overcome Yugi and finally surpass someone who's stronger than him, and finally get a title of his own, that would have been great. And yeah, that's pretty much what would have happened if Joey kept all those spells, I reckon. But what do you guys think? Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Bye.